You do look to be in great shape. How is the training camp going? Because we see the 30-second clips with Rafael Cordero and your whole team, but could you give us a little more insight into how things are going?
I'm doing great, but my body is shit right now. I'm really
sure he's 100, but G looks good.
Yeah, man, he's looking really, really good. I'm definitely a little bit crazy, and I'm definitely a little bit
a bit concerned. Mike Tyson seems to be in complete meltdown just 2 months after his legendary showdown with Jake Paul. It's tough to watch, seeing the man who was once the most feared fighter in the ring now struggling to fit into what looks like a circus tent after the fight. The footage is shocking, especially with the noticeable weight he's gained, and it's not muscle. Now we're addressing the most controversial, Mike Tyson's budget requiring him to take the way he's moving, that head bobbing, it's just not the same interview.
Moving and inside is just wild.
Everything. And the power. That's what you wanted to see from a heavyweight. So that guy is still alive. And he's still...
After a thrilling return to the ring that had fans questioning everything they thought they knew about Tyson's legacy, the fallout has arrived, and it's ugly. The baddest man on the planet has swapped his championship belts for quick cash and a heavy dose of regret. With his career falling apart faster than his stamina did in the fight, Tyson's comeback is quickly devolving into one massive, bloated disappointment after another.
Listen, people talk to. There's certain people that are just crazy, man.
Well, these people that think that he don't stand a chance against Jake Paul, they're like, this shouldn't even, because he's too old. I was like, I think you're...
The post-World War II divorce rate. With sudden optimism, Tyson answers. Tyson, just the name alone would send chills down the spine of anyone in the ring. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a force, an unstoppable whirlwind that flattened opponents in mere seconds. Tyson had once demanded 2-round matches to get more action, but fast forward to November 15th, 2024, and that same name is now linked to something entirely...
Tyson tweeted that he almost died over the summer. He said, he had a bunch of blood transfusions, just had to fight to get healthy, and then his performance yesterday against Jake Paul. Just your thoughts on what we saw.
Mike Tyson was right.
Really different. Struggle. Tyson's much-hyped fight against Jake Paul wasn't just a showdown of fists. It was a clash of eras, a collision of egos, and a brutal reminder that even the mightiest legends must eventually face their downfall. The Tyson we remembered was gone. What we saw in that ring was a 58-year-old man who had already survived a near-death experience earlier that year. The once unstoppable force who used to demolish opponents like they were paper was now facing a YouTuber turned boxer half his age. Let's be honest, this fight felt less like a competitive showdown and more like a sad spectacle. Tyson, but I was back up here. Tyson struggled to find his rhythm as Jake Paul danced around him with the speed of someone half his age. This wasn't the man who once dismantled opponents with brutal knockouts. No, this was Mike Tyson. The icon, yes, but one who was broken, worn out, and barely hanging on. Interviews. The whole fight situation has left Iron Mike in complete meltdown. Let's be honest. Could a 58-year-old man really step into the ring and come out unscathed? It's not just the physical toll. The emotional strain plays a huge role too. Weeks after the fight, Tyson opened up about the aftermath, admitting how big of an impact it had on him. Tyson, formerly the world's greatest professional wrestling champion, is going through something related to his health. Why am I reading this last part? Because it's some of the best. The whole experience took a heavy emotional toll, and it was clear that the mental battle was just as challenging as the physical one. We were so up and high in Dervise. In another interview, Tyson's words hit hard, revealing the inner struggles of a man who spent his entire life chasing...
Ready to kill everybody on the boat because he had to jump in with all these sharks again in the middle of Florida. And he's like, this fucking asshole says that, he cares about me and everything else. I've been fighting since I was 12. And he throws me in the fucking ocean.
Greatness, now confronted with the harsh reality that the world has moved on. His fight against Jake Paul wasn't just a match. It's become a roller coaster of emotions and controversy ever since. In a raw December 9th interview, Tyson admitted he was feeling a little bit depressed after the fight. For a man who once ruled boxing, this wasn't just about losing.
But the day after the fight, the day after, I woke up and told my wife, why did I do that?
It was about questioning everything, his place, his purpose, and his legacy.
By its nature, a horrible fight.
The fallout hit harder than any punch Tyson ever took. His return was supposed to be a triumphant moment, but the reality proved to be much harsher. Jake Paul, the
Oh no, I don't remember the fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little.
Sir, did you watch it back or anything, or no?
I will watch the fight. No, I have not.
Okay.
Tyson later admitted to blanking out during parts of the fight. The last thing I remember is Jake bowing in the ring. Let that sink in. The man who once ruled boxing barely remembers the end of his own fight.
YouTuber turned boxer walked away the winner, leaving Tyson's legacy hanging by a thread at the age of 58. The void Tyson described wasn't just about defeat. It was the crushing realization that time, even for legends, is unforgiving. However, let's not overlook the business side of things. The fight drew a staggering 108 million viewers on
Watch the guy's face, and I watched that confidence bleed from his face.
Yeah.
Instant.
Netflix, breaking records and generating an unbelievable amount of hype. Tyson, the warrior of old, versus Jake Paul, the new age disruptor. From the opening bell, it was clear this wasn't going to be a fairy tale comeback. Tyson started strong, landing punches that echoed the power of his past. But by the second round, the cracks began to show. His firepower was gone, his stamina drained, and Jake Paul exploited every weakness. Round after round, it was clear Paul stayed in control. His speed, youth, and relentless style were too much for Tyson. The punches that once struck fear in opponents now lacked their signature power. By the fourth round, the crowd wasn't watching a battle. They were witnessing the inevitable truth that Father Time is undefeated. Judge David Yabuchi
he might have, and the image, the scary guy, the guy that's going to eat your children, the guy who's
39-73, declaring Jake Paul the winner by unanimous decision. It was a clean sweep, no controversy, but it cost Tyson his legacy. Right after the fight, rumors swirled about a leaked script adding to the drama surrounding the event. Too much spectacle, not enough boxing, leaving fans to wonder if it was more about the show
Your thoughts on what we saw?
Mike Tyson was right, and I was wrong.
than the sport. Interviews, the show you just watched, the scorecards reflected it in every labored breath, every sluggish step, and every punch that failed to land with the impact it once had. And it didn't stop there. The real question was, what did Tyson have to say to the critics who questioned his comeback? Interviews. Ms. Franzino. Tyson later admitted to blanking out during parts of the fight. The last thing I remember is Jake bowing in the ring, he said. Let that sink in. The man who once ruled boxing could barely remember the end of his own fight. Looking back,
5 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah,
20 and
I think that's
40.
what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get
You've
hurt.
known him for a long time. I've known him.
at his history, Iron Mike isn't just a nickname. It's a legacy carved into the very fabric of boxing. With his raw power and unmatched aggression, Tyson became an unstoppable force in the ring, setting records that still stand today. He shattered history at just 20 years old, becoming the youngest heavyweight champion ever by crushing Trevor Berbick interviews. Marked by his brutal, explosive knockouts, Tyson's career was defined by 44 of his 50 wins ending in a knockout. His
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for
first-round demolitions became his terrifying trademark, and his ability to end a fight before the bell even rang made him a nightmare for every heavyweight contender. When he became the first fighter to hold the WBC, WBA, and IBF titles simultaneously, Tyson didn't just win, he dominated. But now, let's be real. The fallout from Mike Tyson's fight with Jake Paul split the boxing world right down the middle. On one side, you had diehard fans applauding Tyson simply for showing up. It wasn't about the result, but the fact that he still stepped into the ring. Intervism. And then there was the landslide rule. You won't go out until all the big names are there. It's crazy how critics hate him, but the guy knows how to stir the pot. After beating Tyson, Jake Paul's celebrity boxing stock skyrocketed. But let's not pretend this didn't also reignite the debate about what boxing even is anymore. Pundits were sharpening their knives, and many saw the fight.
Wouldn't have gone out of business, and Showtime would have made sure they kept paying him.
But there's a catch. How much of Tyson's legacy is he willing to risk? The man's been through hell and back in his life.
For what it was, a spectacle, a cash grab disguised as sport. They called it a stain on Tyson's legacy. Harsh, but perhaps fair. But it's not every day you see a man who once sent legends packing square off against a guy whose claim to fame started with pranks and viral videos. So what do we really see? Tyson admitted he was wrong, but the debate didn't stop there. Speaking of Jake Paul, he's a whole debate in himself. Is he the new face of boxing, proving the sport can evolve? Or is he the ultimate symbol of everything wrong with modern boxing? Flashy, loud, and more about spectacle than skill. Love him or hate him, Jake Paul has undoubtedly shifted the landscape, whether we like it or not. Interviews. I've known him for a long time, and let's not ignore the ethics here. Should a 58-year-old, even one as legendary as Tyson, me stepping into the ring for a professional bout, critics say it's dangerous. And after seeing Tyson's performance, they might have a point. This wasn't just a loss, but a reminder that even the fiercest warriors can't outrun interviews. Legacy. It's messy. The man who once ruled the ring like it was his own jungle gym is now calling out Logan Paul for a future fight. Yep, you heard that right. Logan Paul. After
Wow, I'm kind of depressed a little bit. You know, we got to get back in our living situation, back to living what we know. Because we're training for it 9
After that disastrous show against Jake Paul, it seems Tyson can't shake the craving for more. No matter how far his legacy has fallen interview. So much money for that. And some say it's all about the cash. Who wouldn't want to cash in on that sweet celebrity boxing dough? But let's be real. Tyson isn't exactly starving. He's got millions in the bank. No, this isn't about finances. It's something else. Maybe Tyson just can't let go of his glory days. There's a certain allure in staying relevant when the world has moved on, and Tyson clearly hasn't figured out how to stop craving that spotlight. So he calls out Logan Paul, and suddenly the fight starts talking back. Interviews I. There's the catch. How much of Tyson's legacy is he willing to risk? The man's been through hell and back in his life, and now, instead of riding off into the sunset, he's back at square one, trying to convince us, and maybe even himself, that he still has it. The problem is, every time Tyson steps into the ring, he's adding another chapter to a story that doesn't need more pages. His name is already legendary. Does he really need another win to prove something? Now, let's zoom out for a second and look at the comeback in a broader context. Tyson's return is about more than just Tyson. It's about boxing as a whole. And oh boy, does it have a lot to say about the state of the sport. We need to talk about celebrity boxing. Yes, it's real now, deal with it. Don't get me wrong, the money is great, but it's also eroding the very spirit of the sport. It's time for me. You guys, we're the next Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali. Instead, we're watching a battle of Instagram stars, a shameless spectacle. Tyson's loss to Jake Paul wasn't just a personal failure. It's a flashing neon sign that says boxing is in serious trouble. Like,